Hey guys, it's Matt. About a minute to a minute and a half before reading chapter 13. This is the first day since the smokeout, the Great American Smokeout, June 6th and 7th, and I've been able to open my windows and doors, put a fan in the window, suck some air through the house. It's incredible how they're conditioning us right now. Maybe it'll take 3 to 5 years, but it's already here, conditioning us to check air quality. So the winds come from the north. It's the Great American Smokeout. It's nasty air. I keep everything closed up. I just have a window air conditioner. But then when the air quality improves, or at least since the Great American Smokeout, it comes from the south. It's just been 98% Havana, Cuba humidity. So no way I'm going to open up. I'll never get the humidity out of the house. I keep everything shut. Finally this morning, I can open everything up. The humidity's kind of high, but the air quality's good. Anyway, I'm even looking at the air quality to see if I can open my windows. It is incredible how they are conditioning people. All these sites are all ready to go. The little air quality maps pop up. It is incredible how this thing does business. And without making this its own separate video, which I feel like I just want to keep running with this, but I have chapter 13 to read. Of course, it's about tying in monkey primate change and global charming. Now, you'll have to check air quality. See, you people did this to the earth. Fromers tried to warn you. You people did this. Now you'll be programmed to have to check your phone for air quality before you step out to get the milk that's placed on your front door. Last thing, how many assholes yesterday did the double feature, the double Barbenheimer? Which would you do first if you had to do the double Barbenheimer? I would have to do the Barbie first because look, you just know Oppenheimer's going to be a good movie. They're putting their best foot forward. Barbie would not be my thing no matter how good it is. So I'd do the Barbie first before the buzz wore off, and then I would do the Oppenheimer second. And did I say how many assholes? There's probably somebody listening to this like, I did the double Barbenheimer. You calling me an asshole? Yeah, I'm calling you an asshole. Okay, chapter 13. Keeping the concept of higher self as simple as possible, to me, it just means the part of us that's not inside this Earth universe. Just like the original source of all creation, it was not meant to be fully understood or known while we are here. In this place, you and I are very isolated, and that's intentional. You're meant to think this little place is all there is. Matt, what do you mean, little place? This universe that surrounds the Earth is more vast than can be comprehended by the human mind. No, I believe in the ass backward rule. If science says the universe could be infinite, it's probably not that big. At least that's the way I take it. I've seen the backward rule applied too many times. It's probably only infinite, though, from our perspective. The more infinite it seems, as presented by science, the more that idea crowds out the idea or the notion that you're something more than this place. An infinite universe in this dimension maybe still can be very small because it's this dimension. For example, many video games like Pac-Man can always load another screen infinitely. The Pac-Man inside the game thinks he's in an infinite universe, but we see that poor devil's just inside a little box inside an arcade. Even if the expanse and impossible distance of the universe is what Carl Sagan says it is, that may be nothing when comparing one dimension to the next. And why should I believe it's 400 billion miles to the next alien planet anyway? Because Mitch Pikachu said so? Why should I trust their experiments? I don't care what Stephen Hawking's readings on his scientific equipment told him about the cosmos. That's part of the reality ruse, in my opinion. Why should anyone believe what they tell us about space? If I'm correct about this, it's not because the astronomers and scientists are lying to us. The scientists certainly believe in the validity of their research. Remember, almost all the minions are fooled. Space is designed to appear the way it does to science and to scientists. Their readings and measurements support exactly what Carl Sagan is supposed to believe. But I assure you, nobody's ever been out there to test these theories themselves. Nobody can ever go way out there in a LEM, a dishwasher, or anything else Elon Musk can climb his fat butt into. What does science have to offer your personal journey while you're alive here in this place? Squat. It has squat to offer you. The eggheads don't understand the very large or the very small. They can't tell you what's at the end of the universe, so they parrot back, infinite, 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 like the archaeologists parrot the word tomb. What is it? The tomb. Everything's a tomb if you don't know what it is. Hey, scientists, Maybe it just appears to be infinite on your bogus readings. Scientists are equally fooled by the very small and the quantum. They can't figure that tiny shit out either. Hey, scientists, wasting your time at CERN. You can't search for smaller and smaller particles forever. So let me get this straight. Science has no answers to the two most important components of the physical reality, but I'm supposed to trust them about all that's in between. Always remember the inverse rule. What's the most popular thing on TV and in movies? Space shows, of course. There are like 10,000 space movies and TV shows and horrible new series on Netflix and Hulu, from Flash Gordon all the way up through that horrible movie Gravity with George Clooney and that awful Sandra Bullock. I would have paid money to see the meteors in the opening scene take both of them out. About 100 years ago, the first movie of international popularity was George Méliès's A Trip to the Moon. We've all seen clips of that dog shit. The moon took a spaceship to the right eye. You surprised? Me neither. What a coincidence that the first big movie is a silent picture about space. Science tells you what space is. All the endless books, TV shows, and movies about space really show us what space is not. If Buck Rogers can fly around in it, then a man cannot fly around in it. Remember the backwards rule? These rules are simple and almost universal across this weird place. The moon ain't even something that can be landed on. But I can't stray. The details about individual conspiracies isn't the point of this book. The Not Milk would like nothing more than me to write 1,000 pages about space and to talk to you about it. It wants me back in the bog, and I won't take the bait any longer. Regarding the concept of higher self, here's a simple way to think about it. When you walk up to the community pool in the morning, what do? You just jump right in, or you stick your big toe in the water to sample it, see how cold it was overnight. Your higher self, or the you not here, used you to dip its big toe into this earth water. The big toe is you on earth, living a lifetime. What you know of as you was sent into this reality, but not to sample the free fudge on the boardwalk and have fun on the roller coaster, but to get the fudge smashed in your face in a Michael Spinks spiritual ass-kicking. This place is tough for a reason. It's confusing, at least for the first few rounds of the fight, until we wise up and see the nature of the trick. We are small and weak here for a reason. Note, this part was written about 2 months ago. My shoulder feels much better. True story, I pulled my lawnmower rope a week ago and tore my rotator cuff so bad I'm just now starting to move my arm again. I've been typing leaning forward into the laptop like I'm some sort of turtle bound to a shell. There is no chance this is the body that came from Darwin's billion years of evolution and improving itself with natural selection every single generation. If that was true, our bodies would be tough as nails by now. This body is, for the most part, a lemon, but that's okay. That's the intended experience here. 1,000,000 years of genetic advancement wouldn't just be forfeited in a few generations after indoor plumbing was invented. If a silverback gorilla pulled the rope on my lawnmower, he would never hurt himself. He would fling the entire engine into my neighbor's yard by accident. A monkey has probably never had a tear in the rotator cuff. Never! Have you ever seen a monkey who said it could no longer swing on a limb because it was nursing a rotator cuff injury? That's just for us weak-ass humans. I've heard about cats falling off roofs and just walking away. I worked with a guy, true story, I worked with a guy who fell off his roof. He died. The cat would just walk away. He died. I'm not joking. The typical person on the street has a scripted line for everything. Matt, you see, we humans developed our mind. That was our evolution over the 1,000,000 years, not the body so much. Oh yeah, I've never heard that parroted answer before. Why would it be one or the other? Per Darwin's own theories, both the mind and the body should have evolved to ensure survival. One does not preclude the other if the first 15 minutes of the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey is actually correct and it's the real vision of where we came from, Monkey Man. Of course, the opening scene in 2001: Space Odyssey is total and utter horseshit. I don't think Darwin's writings ever said, if the mind develops, the body cannot evolve to overcome the environment as well. If Darwin was correct, most men today should be just like the father in the movie The Incredibles. But because of all the fake foods and chemicals in the drink, he would be kind of fat with those tiny legs, but overall he'd be amazingly strong and resilient. I've known people who had to go to the doctor because of an ingrown hair. What does Darwin have to say about that? Some people call Earth a test. Some people calls it a school. For some reason, the people who don't think it's a test or a school get very upset when those words are used. They become triggered like woke people. Who cares about what label is put on it or exactly what words to use to describe the Earth experience? We all agree we can learn something from being here. So what does the name matter? Oh, what's in the name? A ship of fools by any other name would be just as fucked up. That's from Shakespeare. Our community generally has consensus here, at least. No matter what you call it, we know that we are here for a reason. If we are here for a reason, then the meaning of life is to find out what that reason is. It's not complicated, but it's not one size fits all either. Your reason is likely not my reason. Your job on Earth is important and necessary for the whole of you to grow. If you didn't come here to Earth as Tommy, the deaf, dumb, and blind kid, then this life wouldn't serve its purpose. You have to be a stressed out, animalistic thing here on Earth, at least for a while. Otherwise, the experience wouldn't be of any value. Our many years of research as reality junkies proves the theories of science like the Big Bang are bantha fodder. They focus solely on the physical and what is just right in front of them, and only what can be observed or taken in some sort of reading. How lame is that? My favorite BS of all time, as you know, is Richard Feynman's, the famous physicist, quote, "If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong." No, Richard, he's rolling around. If it agrees with your experiments, it's part of the reality trick, you jackass. Expand your minds beyond the senses for once, you scientists. Have you ever heard a scientist in your life ever say, "You chose spiritually to come to Earth"? I bet that idea or particular sentence is not in the complete works of Darwin. According to Darwin and all the scientists, you didn't put you here, meaning you didn't put yourself or a piece of you spiritually here. A monkey man grandpappy put you here. The proof is in the pudding, if there ever was a debate to begin with in this regard. Just look what has happened to you listening to this over the past 5 to 10 years. You have changed, haven't you? As I've talked about many times, become the person your 25 or 30-year-old self wouldn't recognize. That doesn't make sense. If you're 31, I understand that. My 25-year-old self would be like, who is that jackass in 2023? I want to be alien to that individual. I have changed. We've all changed. The proof is in the pudding. Red in the Shawshank Redemption talks about his younger self like it's not even him, like it's some alien. Like, I want to talk to him. I want to talk to some sense into him. Like it's not even him. That's kind of is sort of the path we're on in terms of coming out of the matrix or being able to see through certain veils, drop veils, put on the spiritual armor, however you want to present it. By disconnecting with this matrix or cutting Jacob Marley chains, however you want to put it, we have changed the further we have separated from this matrix, right from Star Wars, Darth Vader to Luke. You have become powerful. Look at Luke in movie 1 versus Luke in movie 3. I see this similar to the evolution of what we have gone through or what I was in the matrix at age 25 or 28 or age 30. Luke in movie 1, Luke, come in. You can play with your friends and go run around with your speeder some other time. You got to work on the evaporators, Luke. And then movie 3, he's like, you will take me to Jabba now. You will not turn me into your emperor. Turn you into an emperor. You will not take me before your emperor. I feel good. There is good in you, Father. Is a spiritual progression. That is this path to being a Jedi. This may be the reason they try to destroy the first 3 Star Wars. Maybe 20 years later, like, that shit wasn't supposed to get out. We'll destroy it with subsequent bad movies. Who knows? But the results of what we are all becoming reveal the truth. This time in history has been so strange. Real people only have 2 choices: to merge with the ship of fools or to separate from it. If you're reading this, I know you chose the latter. Your friends and family are ordering drinks from Isaac. Several of the big religions will try to convince you there are certain things you need to do in life because God is watching. God must be pleased. That doesn't make sense to me. Why must your God be pleased? If I put fish in an aquarium, I don't expect them to try to go out of their way to please me, because I understand their limitations. Does the meaning of life revolve around begging a pope in robes for forgiveness, who then, through his confession, will provide someone with a ticket to ride? There's nothing more absurd in the world to me than the Catholic confession. Step into the box, close the door, sit down, confess. You were bad, so go polish this fire hydrant with this rag, and you will be forgiven, my son. Well, which fire hydrant? The one in Mookie's neighborhood, of course, right by Sal's Famous. What the heck? What did he do, the rosaries? What does that even mean? I don't get it. I could see the point of doing what was suggested by whoever's on the other side of the box or the screen. If doing what was suggested was communing with God himself through the dark screen, and then God himself was granting a Catholic forgiveness. But who sits on the other side of the confession booth? I'm looking now, it's just a man. A regular stinky old man who probably has more shit to confess than you do. Let's talk about the confession scene in the movie with Cher, Moonstruck, where Cher tried to slip something big into her list of minor confessions. She's in the box, the dark screen, doors closed, priest sits on the other side of the screen. As the second thing she lists out in her confession list, she says, "And I slept with my brother's fiancée." She sandwiches it between admitting two minor offenses, like she forgot to clean the toilet, I slept with my brother's fiancée, and I ate a jelly donut. And then a man sits there, of course, on the other side of the box, the priest, listening to Cher's confession. He says, wait a second, that one in the middle, Loretta, that's a pretty big sin. The person overseeing the confession and responsible for the absolution of Cher's sin is just a regular man, not a god. It's a stinky man who eats Subway sandwiches and then sits on the pot to uneat them. Who is this man to dismiss sin or even a parking ticket? Look, I'm not trying to piss anyone off. Somehow, we have a few Catholics in our truth community. These are legitimate issues I must talk about. Everything here is 100% factual, even if it comes off as funny. Is anybody wanting to say back to me, it's not the man himself forgiving sin, you dolt? He is an agent for God. Well, that's even more stupid to me. Who decided that he speaks for God as a trusted agent? Think about that concept. Some sort of spiritual fiduciary, I guess? God didn't decide to make this man his Jerry Maguire on earth. The local priest has no Rod Tidwell contract. Another Bob Sugar in robes made this man the agent for God. And the bigger man up who decided who would be the agent at the lower level in the confession boxes, he covered up a scandal. I put it to you, Greg, why would a man who has whacked himself off a few thousand times be an appropriate agent for God in a confession booth? This is not malicious mockery, and I'm being funny, but I'm not really trying to be funny. This is a legitimate concern. Once a young man understands he can whack himself off, he just does it thousands and thousands of times. I did it. We all did it. The priest did it. But I'm not taking confession, am I? I'm understanding I'm low in this place. It's okay to be low in this place. A confession or a pope puts themselves on high. It doesn't make any sense. You need to embrace that you're low here and not say you know agent for God. I'm in this place. We're low, man. Subway sandwiches and whack-offs. And that's fine. That's what we are here. I ain't got no interview today auditioning to be an agent for God. That's my point. And then over and over, there's scandals and new people go to jail. They prove over and over they aren't any higher than anyone else. Yet this confession cycle continues. Okay, let's just move on. This makes no friggin' sense. You were not born into sin. That's ridiculous, in my opinion. Was a dolphin born into sin? Was a kitten born into sin, or a bumblebee? Why would you or I be born into sin? Well, that makes perfect sense if there's a massive organization asking for your money to make those sins that you were born with go away. How are you going to get rid of my sins I was born with? How much you got? You give it to me, I'll make those sins you were born. Why was I born with? You shut up. You're born with sin. Hand you over your money and I'll make it go away. Sounds good to me. Don Michael Corleone played that game in Godfather 3. When he bought International Mobiliari from the Catholic Church just before Andy Garcia started humping his daughter. In the movie, the Catholic Diocese of New York honored Don Corleone. Well, that's cool. Why did they honor him? For the good he did in the community? No, for the money he gave them. The The Buddhists and the Hindus are better in some regards than other big religions, but much worse in other ways. If you go into the moment of death with 100% certainty that you will be coming back via reincarnation into another body, you may have just manifested that tattoo on yourself. Is anybody trying to tell me Buddhists don't go into death with that belief? Of course they believe they're coming back. Come on. Comparing their life and the life they just lived to the Buddha, how many of them would believe they've done enough and reached enlightenment? Nobody? Thinking of all the perverted shit they've done in their life, they really believe they finally walked in the footsteps of Buddha or some sort of bodhisattva and found enlightenment? That religion sets an impossible benchmark that something in a body, a spirit in a body, can never achieve. It starts whacking itself off nonstop at 12 years old. It has done a million other weird-ass perverted things. It's an impossible benchmark that everybody knows cannot be achieved. It doesn't matter. Lifetime after lifetime, come back Tommy, the deaf, dumb, and blind kid, you do the same perverted shit all over again. I mean, people in this community talk about the Saturn moon matrix and recycling trap. How about Buddhism itself? A belief set ingrained in that you're going to have thousands and thousands of more lifetimes. So you have to set an impossible standard of enlightenment against things in this life that can't possibly be achieved. So you go into the moment of death knowing that you are coming right back. I mean, that's a lot more sinister than the Saturn moon matrix. The Saturn moon matrix just seems like Buddhism 2.0. What's your answer, genius? Just the opposite. To embrace the low. Not that everybody needs to be handed a license to do the 1,000 perversions. Oh, we can just get right back to Pornhub. No, you understand and accept. This is my opinion. The opposite of Buddhism. I'm not trying to set some impossible standard. Accept we are low here, and that is the intention of the experience. You do what you can do with yourself here. You do as much work as you can. You give the spirit what it needs here, but you will never be perfect. Even somebody like 90 is probably still to a degree wants to whack himself off. It's okay. You go into the moment of death, not with some impossible benchmark or standard, knowing we've done the work, like going into the gym and we sweated it out, the Rocky training scenes, the huge metaphor, Rocky to life. We've done enough. Go into the moment of death. I did enough. I'm not doing it again. I've learned all I can learn. Higher self, are you listening? I've learned all I can learn in this place. Now get us out of here. Not comparing us to some impossible standard of the Buddha. Give me a break. Regarding the minions and the malignant systems that are out to hide the important parts of you from you, don't get too upset at them. They're just doing their job here and are fully brainwashed into believing their own creepy roles. The society is set up to hide these important truths from real people for as long as possible. It's necessary to be spiritually ignorant in life, at least for a while. If you flew up out of your mother's vagina all-knowing from birth, there'd be no point to what you call life. This information and understanding of what's going on here is only useful to you because you're going through the wake-up process and you're now willing to do the necessary work. What I have written about thus far likely resonates with you because you're ready to graduate. Sorry, I don't have a better term than that. This means you and your higher self have the opportunity of not coming back to do more tours of duty in Madonna's material world. Tony, who I've mentioned to you many times, described to me the goals of higher self. You are an aspect of it. There are many others like you in different times and places, coordinated by higher self. This concept is very different than the religious principles of reincarnation in Hinduism and Buddhism, which generally presents you on your own, out to reach an impossible standard. Imagine a mall map. There's a big star in front of the defunct Kmart that says, "You are here." That's Earth in 2023. Time doesn't really exist. So there are other like derelict yous with their own mall maps doing the work in a different way, like different places and different times. Earth or who knows, maybe someplace else. Tony calls us simultaneous incarnations of higher self, and that is a different entity than Melvin P. and his ilk. It's a higher entity. Melvin P. is Fiddle and Ben's lower entity. We're not just saying that to make ourselves feel better. Just take a look at these clowns. What does your inner knowing tell you? That thing is higher than you are? Of course not. It's a big fish in a small pond. Tony said that your higher self may keep putting aspects of itself into material realities for as long as it needs to. It's not about defeating karma, though, to win, or asking permission from some god to not keep repeating a cycle. It will be up to you and your higher self when you're done playing this game. You're not subservient to some god or a bodhisattva in order to win. Winning may mean that your higher self will be finally done putting bodies into Earth-like systems, and you as a whole don't have to play these games any longer. If you feel strongly about being done with material realms, help to convince your higher self that you've done enough, and you've learned enough, and you've done all there is to learn. That's why the work is much more important than seeing through the trick. Then you can be like I am, a little flippant with your higher self and say, higher self, get us the hell out of here. Get us out of here. Matt, you better not piss it off. It might cut its own little finger off, leave you behind. It might. I don't think so, though. I've done too much work for it. You don't deserve a reward, Matt. I deserve a reward. You can't fake it to make it, though. In this incredibly important aspect of the work, you can't fake it to make it. You can't fool Mother Nature. Remember that butter commercial, whatever? You can't fool your higher self. Because I've done enough. You haven't done enough. Now get back down there. You can't fake it to make it. You got to do the work. So do the work and don't go into death hoping you've done enough. Oh, I hope I've done enough. Oh, I hope I've overcome karma. You're done. You go into death with that mindset. No, you have done enough. In the movie Man on Fire with Denzel Washington, Denzel asked little Dakota Fanning, he's training her for that swim meet, remember? He asked little Dakota Fanning before she was kidnapped. He said, trained or untrained? He said, are you trained or untrained? She says, trained, just before diving off into the pool. She had it's the confidence of knowing the training was enough to overcome and win a little plastic gold medal, whatever they gave her in that Mexican school. It wasn't about remember to do the flip turn or instruction or remember to breathe and remember to do all. It was you've done the work, trained or untrained. Get up on the blocks with the confidence you're trained to win. That mindset. So for me at the moment of death, if I know it's coming, it's not like a helicopter accident or something. If I know it's coming, like I'm on that bed in Dr. Sleep and the damn cat jumps up. Oh boy, the cat just jumped. I love the cat scene in the nursing home in Dr. Sleep. It's incredible. The cat jumps up. You know what? I'm not going to oh, I hope I did another. There's one thing to say, trained or untrained. Do you know you've done enough and you're out, we're done, or not? Any regrets? Oh, I should have done this or that, or then I think that's it. You're flushed. I don't know exactly what that means, but that's why the work is so darn important. I hope we get out this time around, and if you want to get out, my people fooled in life, like my friend Tony, I don't know, he's got some more work to do. I'm sorry. I wish him the best, but he might have to do it again. And I mean, it's sorry for these people, but no gentle soul should have to experience one more Clinton running for some bogus office. And then when they get into office, they have their Cerberus dog running around the rose garden. Nobody should have to go through that again. After this, I'm done with it. However, being honest, I will miss many parts of the natural world. That's okay. Like the sound of birds around sunset. The rooster doesn't make no noise at dusk. That's why I like dusk better. That rooster, you don't hear shit. He knows when the sun's going down. He gets quiet. Although, thank God he's way up the road, or I'd be all over that neighbor. It's not my issue. It's the neighbors up the road's issue. It still bothers me. Anyway, Matt, stop mentioning that damn rooster every chapter. Sorry. It's okay to be nostalgic about the beauty of nature, as long as you're not like crafting chains that demonstrate you want to stay here. The world, in my opinion, can be appreciated with gratitude. I try to do this every day. They will never be able to entirely stamp out the heaven that's here, that mixes in with the hell. They're here, these creeps, to propagate one side of that equation, of course. To me, one of the main goals in life is to be able to embrace the heaven that will always be here amongst the ever-growing hell. Last night, I stood, not when I wrote this, but I just wrote this now. Last night, I stood at my window like some touchy-feely tree hugger granola cruncher watching the lightning bugs. We call them lightning bugs here, not fireflies. We call them jimmies here in Philly, not sprinkles. I stood like some granola cruncher watching the lightning bugs for 10 minutes, just calling it in front of Zara and Fifi Addy. This is the greatest show on earth. To me, there's the lightning bug is the most incredible thing. It is my canary in the coal mine. I say it over and over. As long as these things come out, all is right in the world. So I just stood there like some touchy-feely hippie. Now, that person that did this last night would be a lunatic to my 25-year-old self. Good. It proves the work is being done. Thanks for listening.